Welcome to the Para Fair. Today's topic is Varsity Blues Operation. And recently we heard this scandal about parents claiming that their children had learning disabilities. And so they hired this consultant and paid them a lot of money to get their kids into college. Also, they had stand-ins were paid to cheat on standardized tests. In many cases, students were not even aware of their parents paying these companies hundreds and thousands of dollars to get them into prestigious colleges across the United States. In one instance, someone else took a SAT exam for a student, and the person would serve as a proctor to guide the students to the right answers, and someone would review the answers before they were submitted. One person, they had to do a handwriting sample. They agreed to pay $50,000 to Mr. Singer's company so that the other son could take the ACT. So as we look at these different things, also they use an athletic accomplishments were faked. So we used various ways of getting their children into college. One thing they also did was payments were disguised as charitable donations to the universities. And so when they fill out their taxes, they said, well, we're just giving to a charity. We're giving to a foundation. So various ways of getting students and people who are very rich, getting their students into Georgetown, USC, Yale, various ways. So we have some special guests here today. We have people who want to add their little input into their college experience. Everyone at this table is a college graduate. So they've been down the college road before. They know the experience. They have great examples, great stories. And we'll just open it up, let them introduce themselves or talk about a story and look at the notes that we want to hit and try to figure out what's going on with all these people out in the world. All right. So who wants to introduce themselves first?
Okay. Hi, it's me, Georgie's mom. This is what I need to say about that. First, I don't understand why these kids, rich kids, need a college degree or get into these prestigious colleges when they already inherit a lot of money from parents. And they're going to go on to do some acting and get some little roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or some other casting roles that are in the background, and then they're going to become actresses and actors like their parents. So I don't understand why they need a college degree, but also they don't understand how hard it is to get into college. People have to study so hard, work so hard, just put all their minds and brains into their perspectives of going into these really nice colleges and have to take these exams and hear the results of the exams to see if they even made the cut, to receive a letter of acceptance or regrets. To hear that people are just paying their way in, just disappointing.
One of the points that we want to hit, we have a lot of points in this podcast to hit, is that the parents claim that their children had learning disabilities. How do you feel about parents using learning disabilities for an advantage to get your child into college?
What learning disabilities? What kind of learning disabilities these kids have? What? That they don't want to study? That's not a learning disability. You just have to sit your butt down and study and not go out and go to these Hollywood nightclubs and parties. That's not a disability. That's just, they need the chancla. What? What's so funny
There's
about
nothing
that?
funny about it, but they use medical documentation to claim that the children had learning disabilities. And so they had doctors in on this scheme that they were doing. So you think the doctors should be sued for this, but they used medical documentation that the kids needed. They had some problems.
If they were lying, then the doctor should be held liable. because that's a crime. There's people that actually do have disabilities and have IEPs and they have special accommodations and they can get into school, but you have to be diagnosed and they have to go through the proper process of special education. So if the doctors lied and it was all part of the scam, then they should be held liable and be prosecuted just like their parents.
Oh, it's my turn? Okay. As someone who has interacted with people who have different disabilities at a community college level, these students still have to go and work hard through the classes that all the other students have to attend. So they still have to get the grades and they have to work even harder to get those grades because they have those disabilities. So why does somebody who, even if they do have these disabilities, why do they get a free ride just because their parents can pay for it into Ivy League schools?
Yeah, but I think the parents, and they use that as an opportunity to get those students in the door. And it was now their opportunity to, okay, you're in there now. What are you going to do with that opportunity? That's how I looked at it. The parents are doing everything they can do to keep those kids successful. And so that's what they used it. They had doctors that would write those notes.
You really don't think that if they paid to get their children into that college that they're not paying essay writers, ghostwriters to turn in these essays for these students? There's a lot of okay, let me take it back. At that level, I keep thinking back to the UC system. You're basically in a class with 400 other students, especially your first 2 years. You really think that you don't have somebody coming in and standing in for you and you're not paying this individual to go in and pretend to be you? How is an instructor or anybody supposed to really catch on to the fact that you're not really there and that the person that is there in your place is not actually you? I really think they're paying people off to just go in and earn degrees, for these people, for these students.
Right. But again, what good is a degree going to do for you if you haven't earned it, if you haven't gained the knowledge or the experience of going through college? What do you need? At the end of the day, you don't have the knowledge and the skills that you need to be in the workforce. So if you just have a dumb child, you just have a dumb child. And if the parents can pay, the parents can pay all the money they want, but they're not going to make it out in life. What is this saying about what the parents think about their children? They have no confidence in their children and they have no skill. The children have no skill. So it's just sad that they think very low of their children, that they have to pay for them. That's like paying for the referee so that your child can win the soccer game. But if he can't even kick the ball, so what good is that going to do for you to have a trophy at home, but you haven't even kicked the ball?
So what you're saying is there really wasn't a point. They're wasting their money for nothing because even after they pay all of this money to get the degree, they're not going to use it.
Exactly. They're not going to know how to use. They're not going to know how to cross the street if they haven't. If they don't have the skill. You can pay a person all you want, but the minute you turn around and leave them on their own, they're not going to know what to do. So it's all going to be wasted. So, they have a certificate, but who's going to hire them? They can't even read and write.
I think to your point, it's not about the kids. It's not about their kids. It's not about paying their way through college. It's about keeping up appearances. It's about having the degree from Harvard or Duke or wherever, and then saying, "Oh, look at our family." And you have to think about it too if you look at the parents' perspective, especially the famous ones, it's the rags to riches story that they were poor and they didn't have these opportunities, and now that they're rich, they want their children to surpass and have all these opportunities that they didn't. But the problem is that they didn't raise their children. They didn't raise their children to understand or know what the struggle is. Do you see what I mean? And so the parents are they're just living vicariously through them. I didn't go to college. I made it this far. I've made all this money through luck or hard work or whatever. But my child, I have to help them out because now I have the opportunity. I have the funds, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day, the public's going to see, that my child didn't go to school. What can I do so that they do go to school, so that, again, it's all about the appearance.
But a lot of these schools, especially not a lot of these schools, it's not even about them attending classes or getting a degree. It's about the networking. And a lot of these people, these rich people, I don't know, I'm not rich, but they send their kids there to network with other students for connections for later on in life, because maybe their father or mother may have a production company. Maybe they are there because it's just all about networking and getting together with certain people. It's not about attaining an education. It's about networking and being at a certain school. So far as, like you said, working hard, they don't know what that is because they've been always taught it's about who you know and not what you know. And I'm trying to figure that out. Like we say, oh, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. But then you got people who aren't really committed to doing all this stuff, but they're still getting by. So I think a lot of people are mad at these people because they found a loophole in the system and they're advancing their kids, and people are mad because their kid, I think there was an example where someone showed me this one child got like a 4.2 GPA grade point average in high school and still was denied to one of these colleges. And so the parent is really upset about this situation. But these are private universities. A lot of these are private universities. That doesn't mean they get to pick who they want to come into their school. They're a little bit different from the UC system. So it's a private school. It's not, oh, you're 4.2, so that means you get to come in. It's a private university. A lot of these schools are private. And there's some that are public, but most of them are private, so they're more selective in who can give them the most money. And it's all about money,
So then what's the point of getting an education? Like at the end of the day, then what's the point? If it only further proves the point that a lot of people make, in that college is just this really big scam. At the end of the day, like what is the point of it all? You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to sound like, this is like an existentialist crisis of any sort, but really it proves that point. Like, like why do we need an education if at the end of the day, all that matters is who you come from and your name and the money? Because we went to college and I have over $100,000 worth of student loans, and I can barely find a job. And the job that I do have doesn't even help me pay my loan. So what's the point?
Well, maybe you've been tricked into thinking college was important. Maybe college wasn't. Maybe it's about what you can do, not college. Or it's like who you know. I don't know. That's the thing that we're struggling with, is like our son telling him, oh yeah, college is important. And then he'll have some friends that parents know people, and they'll have a better job than he does. And they won't ever go to college. They'll never write a term paper. So as a parent and how do you tell your children college is important?
I think because if you're brown or black, if you don't have that degree, nobody's going to listen to you. Because even with the degree, people have a difficult time listening to your opinions or being validated in any way. So I don't know, having a degree kind of in a way saves you from that struggle.
Well, the other point about college is the degree is important for your jobs and job search and careers and all that. But there's something else that college teaches, and that is discipline. And sitting down and turning in your papers that are due at the end of the term, and studying for the midterms and finals, and getting the professors what they need, and going to lab classes and field work and all that. It teaches you discipline, and it teaches you routines that you need for the workforce. So again, my point is, these kids that are getting in because their parents want them to get in, they're probably not taking anything serious. They're partying. They're doing whatever they want because they know their parents are going to rescue them. So yeah, they'll have a degree, but they are not gaining the skills, the other skills, the lifelong skills that you're gaining through college. So when you're going to college and you have a syllabus of a timeline of things that are due, midterms, and then at the end of the semester, all of that is preparing you for the workforce. For when you're at work and your boss gives you a project or a task and they give you a timeline and you have to complete it. And yes, you want to do a lot of other things that are fun, but you have to complete what you have to complete. Those are responsibilities that college teaches you. So again, my point is that these kids are not gaining the skills that they're going to need to be out in the workforce so that they can use their degree. So, but they probably won't even go through any of that because they're going to work for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and act and be in commercials and get these roles and probably modeling or something. And they're not going to need any of that. So it's just to save face. And in this age of social media, it's all about saving face and showing how perfect the families are when it's just all a cover up for what's really happening, which is very sad.
So like you take the case of Lori Loughlin, what was that show? The Full House mom. Her daughter who was going to USC, she had all these contracts with like Sephora and I forget what other couple like companies were endorsing her. And I think Amazon was also endorsing her. But now she's lost all these endorsements because of this, you know? But so if she knew what was going on, you know.
But did she know what was going on?
That's what I mean. Like nobody knows. Nothing.
No, but there are some parents that didn't know because in one instance, there's one instance that I guess one of the students was at orientation and the counselor was talking to him. So I guess they asked the guy, they said, I guess you're a student athlete. Like you're on the track team to Provo. He's like, what do you mean? He said, no, I'm just a student. I don't even know what a pole vault is. And so you have these students, the parents having told the students, their kids, the honest truth about what's going on. That's what makes it difficult. Some of these kids don't even know.
But like there was that one, yes, I think some of them knew and I think some of them didn't. There was one case where the student was at UCLA and I don't know if it was the soccer team, whatever sports team that she was on, but you know, like they had assigned jersey numbers from like 0 to like 20 something. And then there's one particular student who got into UCLA was like number 40 something. And she was listed on the website as number 40 something, but she never participated in any game or anything at all, you know? So wouldn't you know? I mean, like in that case, I would assume that she would know if her picture keeps popping up, you know?
And you know what? Actually, that one of those girls, the Laughlin daughter, she actually said she was in an interview before all of this came out. And she said that she was at school and school was all about partying. And so she knows that she's just there to ride the wave and have fun and party because she's not taking it serious. And she didn't work hard to get there, so she's not going to work hard to finish.
Yeah, but we're talking about a different class of people that they've been born into money. And so they don't know reality like the rest of the world of getting up, following the schedule. Because they're the boss, you know, like if they wanted a paper done, maybe they can pay somebody to write their paper or sit in a class or take an exam because be honest with you, maybe the parents have modeled some of this behavior because maybe that's how they got where they wanted to. They had to pay this person, that person to get that next acting job. We don't know. We're not in that situation with these people. When you have a lot of money, people will do a lot of things for you if you put cash in front of them. Because they will sell themselves to money. They don't care. And it seems like these students or these kids, they've been brought up in this culture. So money is very important to them. And so they know money can open doors for them and money can take care of a lot of our problems. And a lot of these, it's sad. And I heard this story and I heard this story about just two people, this one girl and one boy, where his father was very rich, and his favorite basketball team was the Chicago Bulls. And so for his birthday, his dad paid 5 of the Chicago Bulls to come over to his house and play a game of basketball with him and hang out with him. With his other girl, on the other hand, she and her father wanted to go to a Bulls game one day, and all they could do was walk around and look at the crowd. They couldn't afford a ticket to go in at that time. So then eventually the boy got into playing a guitar and he wanted, to learn how to play the guitar. So the father hired one of the best guitar players in the world to come, flew him over, and he gave his son one-on-one attention. And then the girl, on the other hand, she started playing music classes, and she didn't have anyone to teach her, but she had a determination to learn by herself. And then eventually, as they got older, the boy who had everything, he lost interest in a lot of things. But the girl who continued to work hard and hard, she's very successful at this moment. So it told me that even though you're given a lot in the beginning, if you don't work hard, if you don't have it in you to work hard, you're going to lose interest in a lot of things. But that's just my little side story to that.
My turn.
She woke up.
I just think that the whole thing is just a disservice. It's a disservice. The parents, it's a disservice to themselves because they're wasting their money. It's a disservice to the student or their child, because 1, they're not showing faith in their own child's ability, but 2, they're wasting that kid's time, because what's the point of getting into an Ivy League school if the best you can do is community college work? Not that saying that community college isn't hard, but if that's the level that you're at, is that you can only handle going to a class where it's like 15 to 30 students in one room and you need time to like figure out what you want to do, then that's just where you're at. And it's also a disservice to education, because touching on what Libby said earlier about how, what did you say earlier about how, how did you say it? Like it's earlier when you were talking about the difference, like Ivy, like having to go to a class with like 400 students. What was your point about that?
My point about that was that there's really no way for somebody to track if you're really in class, because you get lost in the numbers. There's so many students.
Yeah, so you're taking up the spot of somebody who actually wants to take that spot and wants to be one of the numbers and wants to like stand out in one of those numbers and do the hard work. And then also just in general, like college isn't for everyone. Like, yeah, it can be a waste of time. For some people, it is a sham. For some people, it's not worth it because what they want to do may not necessarily require a degree, and that's okay. There's a lot of people who go into certificate programs and then they become a really big deal. Like, not every program requires a degree or a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree or a master's or whatever. And you can still soar that way. It's not necessary to be Ivy League college educated. It's a waste of time if that's not what you're into.
Yeah, but the next thing I want to jump to is, okay, for example, for us going to college, our parents told us that we had to go and we had to graduate because they wanted a better life for us. And they realized that was what we had to do. But these kids, if they don't go to college, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to them? They're going to go right back to where they were living. They're going to still have their trust fund money. They'll have more money than we can ever probably count. So what's the, like Maria was saying earlier, why do they need to be there? Because they're going to have jobs and someone's going to give them something, you know? So why are they even there? What's the point of them being there if they're just there just to hang out and party and have a good time? That's what it sounds like to me.
So I think it goes back to phony Hollywood, that everything is about upping each other and having everything. And again, with social media, everyone's trying to post or portray the perfect family that has everything. They have money, they have glamour, they have education, they have degrees, they go to the prestigious colleges, and they're well off, and that they work hard according to them. That's what they feel means working hard. And they've earned what they have. But in reality, that's part of being privileged, part of being in that privileged category. And Hollywood, as much as they want to talk about how they're all about helping others and humanity and what's right and what's humanitarian to the world, they're caught up in their own world, and they live in a bubble, and they do what they want to do because they have the money. And in social media, again, because they want to be in that magazine, that latest and greatest of what their family is. And it's all a portrayal. But in reality, everything is fake, like their surgery and their faces and their bodies. So this is part of that Hollywood lifestyle.
But I think society is, like, just in general, I think that society is largely to blame for that, because we put an emphasis on the wrong thing. So, like, for example, like our family, or a lot of people's family, I think, puts a great like the parents are always like, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, because that's the only way that you're going to make it. And then they take a really big like pride in the fact that their children graduated from college and they all have degrees. And that's a really great thing. But we put emphasis on that. And then we put emphasis on, like, we're in the next level. We're above people who are not educated or who did not go to college. And that's, I think, like, I think us glorifying that can be problematic, because now we have all these like Hollywood parents who are like, my kid can't just go to a Cal State or a UC. They have to go to an Ivy League because that looks good. And that's because society has put this emphasis on having a higher degree. And we glorify that. They're not content. There's nothing glorifiable in like being like the best plumber. You know what I mean? There's no award for that. There's no like, and I think that's a society thing.
It is. And you have these people, like you said, society is pushing people. It's all about how you look. It's not about hard work. It's about getting a good break. And as I try to understand all this and what you guys are trying to tell me is maybe we're the ones that are bitter because we didn't get the break. Maybe if our parents, how do you think we'd have turned out if our parents would have had a whole bunch of money and paid for stuff for us? Will we have the same perspective as, those children that are, is it their fault? They're born into a lot of money, and their parents want to, when they go to the movie sets or their actors, like, oh, how's your daughter doing? They're at Georgetown, they're at Yale, they're at blah, blah, blah. Because those are bragging points. That tells, like you said, it tells them that they are going to be successful in whatever they do. But when it comes down to it and I explain this to myself, and I explain this to a lot of people, and as many hours as I work, you got to put the time in. You really got to put the time in. And if you're not used to working and getting better and trying and failing and getting back up and doing it over and over again, it doesn't matter how much money you're going to have. Eventually, you're going to blow that money away, because we always see people that, oh, whatever happened to such and such, whatever happened to such and such. They had all this money, but they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to manage their stuff. And so, like someone was saying earlier, like one of the hosts on the show was saying earlier, you have to know how to manage yourself. Someone gives you a syllabus in college. They said, this is due on this date, this date. So you have to know how to use your time management. But if you do not know how to do this, it's kind of like life. You're not going to know how to pay your bills. You're not going to know how to do this. Certain little things that college just teaches you to. And college, like you said, is not for everyone. And there's plenty of jobs that you don't have to go to college to be successful. Like you were saying earlier about being the best plumber, they make great money because they're fixing a problem. But it's hard working. You have to know how to problem solve. And the thing about, like, as I watch a lot of these things, the parents were trying to put a Band-Aid on the situation of getting those kids or their kids to the best schools because they thought that would make them happy. That would make them look good. But there's so many layers to this story that I would love to keep going over and over again about. But all of you, you've been to college. You know how hard it is. You know that lecture hall that you would just like to walk out of that lecture hall and not come back into. You know, there's times that you wanted to quit and give up and say, you know what, it's not for me, but you didn't. So you know that personal satisfaction of accomplishing things.
Yeah, I was going to say that at the end of the day, even though I owe so much money, I take pride in the fact that none of those loans or any of that I carry around, ultimately what I got is a degree that I got because I worked hard and because I stayed up endless nights and I wrote my papers. They weren't the best papers, but there's integrity in what I did. And that's something that no one can ever take from you.
Yeah, true. No one, no one can say, hey, you didn't earn it. You didn't do this and you didn't do that. So you can sleep good at night and knowing that you accomplished everything. So as we wrap things up, we have our last few thoughts with some people who are just really doing way too much today, but it's okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our podcast about the Varsity Blue scandal, and very interesting. Usually my podcast, I'm the only one looking at a mic, but this time we have like 4 people who are, so it's, our weekend shows will be with all these different people.
For inviting us. We thank you for inviting us to your podcast. Very interesting. You have some good insights and good stories to tell. So there was this interesting topic. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks.
Well, until next time on the Parent Fair, if you have comments, questions, or suggestions for the next topic, please drop us a line on the comment line. And as we get bigger and better and keep pushing content out there, have a good one. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.